welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are going to recap and review Married at First Sight season 12 episode 1 Countdown to Meltdown, featuring Chris and Paige, our first couple. So if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button, and also drop a comment down below. I will do post notification shout outs. So let's talk about Chris and Paige, and they have been talked about well before this season started. But to start off this episode, we see with regards to Paige, she is now letting her family know that she has been selected to be married in 2 weeks, and she's really excited. However, her brother, Andre, he's really concerned. And he speaks from a place of the fact that he's been married before, well, married at this time as well. But before we get into that, they kind of recap us with what we've seen in the previous 2 episodes, which honestly, I just want to put this out here, 3 hours just to recap half of the show. I really think they could have did a lot more with this episode, but, I don't want to digress too far. So back to the conversation with the family. The brother wanted to make sure that she knows what she's getting into. Marriage is a lot of work because he's married himself. So he's speaking from a place of experience, and he was asking her good questions. Well, what if you get into this situation and he's different than what you really want? And, it got her to think, but she's putting her trust in the experts. So then it switches over to Chris. Chris sit down with his grandma and his pastor, because that's his pastor sitting next to him. And the thing about the grandma, I don't know if you checked out the video on this channel, who really is Chris Williams II. His grandmother has a pivotal part in his life, even when he was going through homelessness. So if you haven't seen that video, go over on this channel and check it out. But she told him to go into this process with an open mind, to make sure that, you don't pretty much get ahead of yourself. And, guys, I've been telling people in the groups I'm having conversations with, I take this show with a grain of salt. It's for entertainment purposes only. A lot of this stuff isn't indicative of who these people really are. So, because we really don't know them. We only know about what's shown on the show. However, so he's definitely have a lot of confidence about himself, where he came from, coming out of homelessness, bringing himself up out of that, starting a business, being a franchise owner, the activities that he's involved in. He's also been a pastor because I'm from Chicago. I don't live in Chicago, but I'm from Chicago, and I know the area that he came from in Inglewood. So he definitely came from starting from that area on the south side of Chicago up to bringing to where he is at this point in his life today. And again, go check out the video on my channel. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But, he's told his family that he's getting married in 2 weeks. He's preparing, and he's excited, it seems. The only thing is a lot of the comments that is being highlighted on this show, because I'm going to speak of a place of relativity instead of being judgmental, because I don't know what's edited and what's not edited, what's cut out. Maybe there was a story before he made the statements that he made. But, it's pretty interesting that he comes from a religious background. His family is religious. His mom, his grandpa, that's his grandpa sitting on the couch next to his grandma. And one thing she told him is about looks and physical features, is that I don't look the same way when I first met your grandfather. And so you have to, look at that. And that's going to be something that he would have to work on. All right, so let's move on to, the next part, where the girls meet up with each other to get to know each other, and the guys meet up with each other to get to know each other. And the thing is that, she seems like she's a person that knows herself and knows what she wants. Chris, I honestly think that if this could actually work, they could truly be a power couple. He's a business owner and entrepreneur. She's well established, and she, has a college degree, and I think accounting, if I'm not. Drop a comment down below, what her career field is. But when Chris meet up with the guys, Chris gives his background on his relationships and how he was basically in 2 relationships in, I think, a year, because the last engagement, because he's been engaged twice, only lasted probably like 6 months, I think. And the men were pretty judgmental about the fact and the whole ugly comment. And then we have Paige, who, she was having conversation about not wanting to kiss at the altar. And some of the girls give her a side eye about that, So, I mean, she also made a comment about expecting her spouse to provide records of his STD test. And that's totally understandable. People get to choose what they want to choose. It depends on the person if they're agreeable to it. But they're definitely, these 2 people, both Paige and Chris, it seems that they definitely have some mutual interests, which I'll go further into that. But it's pretty interesting. So he meets up separately with his pastor to have some conversation about the mistakes that he's made in his last 2 previous relationships, that he tend to have sex and, jump in before, actually really truly getting to know the person that he's with. And, his pastor asked a great question. It's like, do you look for love in these relationships, or are you looking for lust? And I mean, he had to think about that. And, he said, well, maybe that is the case. Maybe I do jump into sex first without actually getting to really know the person. But he did make a joke. He said, at this point now, I'm definitely going to marry the person before I have sex with them. And, they laughed about it. And I mean, yeah, out of the way. And like his pastor says, you don't have a choice at this point, especially with the way this process is. But it's good that he has a mentor that he can talk to about these things and help him, process this. I mean, I will say he is still in his, I think he's like 27, 28. So he got some growing to do. A lot of us, mature faster than others, but life is a learning experience. In your 20s are your building years. And, part of that is he's built his financial empire. At the same time, he needs now to learn how to grow in his maturity. And everybody had to do it. So that's nothing new for him. We all have. I mean, I'm, of course, twice his age, but, I'm 50, I'll be 50. But the thing is, people has to mature as time go on. Life is a learning experience. So now we're back with Paige, and she seemed to be pretty much getting along with the girls, but I think it seems like she's kind of keeping an eye and watching the temperature of the room with these girls to really see, what they're really about. Clara brought in gifts for the girls, which was lingerie, and they were talking about lingerie. And Paige was like, I threw out everything old and I bought in all new stuff. She is ready. And then she has this conversation about one of her friends asking her, do she lick the bum hole or the butthole or whatever? And, of course, they kind of bleeped that out. And she was like, I ain't doing it, but if he wants to do it, he can. So she's definitely not open to giving, but she's definitely open to receiving, which is why Clara definitely called her in the closet or undercover freak, which kind of lines up while we're speaking about that freak term, which Chris brought that up, how he wants a freak, or how it was highlighted or portrayed in the show. They might be a mutual match when it comes to that, because she's definitely open to some things. I mean, hey, So if he's here for it, she's here for it. If it's mutual, we'll see. All right, so now it's time to pick out wedding dresses. And again, 3 hours from last night's show. I honestly think that we could at least got 2 weddings out the way. And a lot of this stuff was already talked about in the previous 2 episodes. And then we also have Chris picking out his suit. The big highlight was him wanting to be the best dressed in Married at First Sight history. And I don't know if you guys follow Woody on Twitter, because I saw him tweet, "No, I was the best dressed in last season." I thought that was so funny. I'm like, put Chris and Woody together. It would be an interesting combination. But he had these glittery shoes, and it's pretty common. My son is a Libra, just like Chris is. And when my son went to prom, he had these shiny shoes. They are all about outside appearances. So if anybody is into that, you'll know what I'm talking about. But they're definitely checking out his suit, picking out the nice one, and I actually like what he had on. Let me know what you guys think. And even with Paige's dress, she looks absolutely gorgeous. And her mom and her friends and family that was there, they were really champions of the dress, and she was posing in this scene. I was like, you go, girl. And my thing is, it don't matter, what other people think about your outward appearance, is how you feel about yourself. So a lot of people criticize Chris on, how he think he's so attractive, and how he, people can say what they want about you. It's what matters at the end of the day is how you feel about yourself, because you got to live with you at the end of the day, right? They don't have to. So, I mean, he seems like he's really excited about getting married. Again, I'm hoping that with the 2 of them together, they can feed off some energy that becomes learning experience for the both of them. I think Paige brings a lot of things that maybe could be great for him, and at the same time, vice versa. So now we have the Bachelor and Bachelorette parties, and Chris comes in with this blow-up doll, and of course, Vincent is looking at him like he's crazy, but Chris says, you know what, I'm not getting involved with any strippers. This is the closest thing I'm going to get involved. And hey, I mean, I can't knock him for it. I mean, the thing is, he's trying to stay away from the strippers. This thing is an inanimate object. It makes sense. The other thing is that the guys were criticizing him for being late. When you're an entrepreneur, you don't work on standard hours. Believe me, I know. But, I just found that pretty interesting. And then there is the conversation that, and here we go with Vincent talking about blow-up dolls, but he is having a moment with the stripper in the cage. And, of course, Chris is like, okay, he can have at it. Now I don't want no parts of it. This is the furthest I'm going to go with this plastic and an inanimate object. So I like the fact that he did that. But the thing is that people do what they want to do. They have the choice to move how they want to move. It might not be the way we want to do it, but at the end of the day, it's their choice. We can't control that, and they don't answer to us. So I want to put that out there too. There's this conversation with the girls about the submissive thing. And I know Brianna wasn't having it. She was like, I ain't doing it. I mean, to each his own. Some people are not into that. However, Paige is a little bit different. She wants to be with someone who will take the lead. She talks about the importance of fulfilling her duties as a Christian woman, saying that she's not beyond being submissive if it's with a man who can lead her in the right way. So I know when those comments came out in the last couple episodes, people on social media with Chris saying submissive were up in arms. There are women who are okay with that. And that's his preference. So sometimes, even again, if it's not something that works for you, that's fine. Other people, it might. So, I mean, if it's going to be something that Paige is into, and obviously it's something that he's looking for, they definitely have mutual interest. And for them, it's something that may work. And so that's why I leave it. That's why I really didn't want to jump. I kind of wanted to wait and see what the situation was going to look like, because I mean, there was a lot of folks that did not like that submissive term, but there are people who see it differently, and she explained it fully. So we didn't get to see their wedding this week. We barely got to see a wedding this week out of 3 hours, but I'm looking forward to seeing where they could go, both Paige and Chris. I did see, the previews for future down the road. Obviously, they are having a very active sex life between the two of them, to the point where Pastor Cal is wondering why they're not using condoms, because they're having sex daily. But it's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Are they that power couple? They definitely have mutual interests, so we will see. All right, I'm about to do my post notification shout out, and our shout out winner this episode is Liz Harley. Thank you so much for engaging in the channel. I really appreciate it. And if you wanted to be shouted out, drop a comment down below. I'll look for you. And until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.